have 3 messages from your person, and it's urgent. These are not random words, not late-night thoughts, not guilt speaking for a moment and disappearing by morning. These are the heartfelt pleas from them to you. And they have been sitting with these words for a long time, longer than you think. The first message is this: I was not as strong as you thought I was. They want you to know that when they walked away, when they went silent, when they chose pride over connection, it was not because they did not feel deeply. It was because they felt too much and did not know how to carry it. You saw them as steady, grounded, in control. But inside, they were fighting parts of themselves they never showed you. Parts that were scared of being seen. Parts that believed love always comes with loss. Parts that learned long before you that attachment leads to pain. When you loved them, you touched places in them that had been asleep for years. You awakened tenderness. You awakened longing. You awakened the small, hidden child inside them who once waited for someone to stay. And that child panicked. Because when something feels that good, it also feels dangerous. They did not run from you. They ran from what you stirred inside them. They were raised, in one way or another, to survive, to perform, to achieve, to protect, to stay composed. Feelings were something to manage, not to drown in. Vulnerability was something to offer in small, measured doses. But you did not love them in small doses. You loved them in a way that asked them to be whole, and they were not ready to meet themselves. There is a part of every person that lives in shadow, not evil, not cruel, just unexamined. The part that carries old wounds, old shame, old fear. When 2 souls come close, those shadows rise to the surface. You became the mirror, and instead of facing what they saw, they blamed the mirror. That is the truth they struggled to say. They looked at you and saw reflected back all the ways they had been hurt before, all the times they trusted and got broken, all the moments they opened up and got punished for it. You reminded them of every risk they ever took with their heart. And so they convinced themselves that you were the problem, when really, you were just showing them the work they still needed to do. The second message is this: I have been fighting myself since I left. You may think they moved on easily, that they forgot, that they replaced you, that they are fine. They are not fine. They have been split in 2. One side of them tells them they did what was necessary, that it was too intense, too complicated, too overwhelming, that they needed space, that it was self-protection. The other side whispers your name, the side that remembers how safe they felt in your presence, the way your eyes softened when you looked at them, the way you understood things they never had to explain, the way silence with you felt full, not empty. They replay moments more than they admit, the ordinary ones especially. A laugh in the kitchen, a late conversation in the dark, the way your hand found theirs without thinking. They miss the feeling of being known. But here is the deeper truth. What they miss most is who they were becoming with you. With you, they were softer, more honest, more aware. You were not just a partner. You were a catalyst. You challenged their old identity. Before you, They were used to control, used to emotional distance, used to giving just enough and pulling back before it got too deep. With you, the old pattern cracked, and when it cracked, fear rushed in. They started to see the ways they self-sabotage, the ways they avoid, the ways they retreat when something matters too much. It is easier to lose a person than to lose the version of yourself you have been protecting for years. So they chose the familiar self over the uncertain growth. But growth does not disappear. It waits. The third message is this: I am afraid you will outgrow me. This is the one they would never say out loud. They see your strength. They see your depth. They see the way you keep going even after being hurt. And part of them wonders if you are already becoming someone they cannot reach. They know they wounded you, and they know that pain changes people. They fear that by the time they find the courage to come forward, you will have closed the chapter. They fear that your silence means clarity, that your distance means detachment, that your calm means you no longer feel. What they do not understand is that you feel everything. You just do not beg anymore. You learned something through this separation. You learned to sit with your own shadow. You learned to face your own fear of abandonment. You learned that you can survive what you once thought would break you. And that growth shifts the balance. When one person begins to heal, it forces the other to look at their own wounds. You have been doing your inner work quietly. They feel it energetically, even if they do not have words for it. It unsettles them, because if you rise into your full strength, you will not accept half love. You will not accept confusion. You will not accept emotional crumbs. And they know they must rise too. That is why this is urgent. Not because of drama, not because of manipulation, but because something inside them is reaching a breaking point. They cannot stay in denial much longer. The mask is getting heavy. They are tired of pretending they are unaffected, tired of scrolling through distractions, tired of telling themselves it was just a lesson. You were not just a lesson. You were a turning point. In every deep connection, there is a moment where love asks both people to evolve. One usually runs first. The other usually stays and feels the pain more consciously. But the story does not end there. The one who runs eventually meets their own shadow alone. And when they do, they realize the battle was never with the other person. It was with themselves. Your person is standing at that edge now. They are beginning to see that the traits they criticized in you were reflections of parts of themselves they rejected. Your emotional depth exposed their emotional avoidance. Your honesty exposed their fear. Your desire for clarity exposed their habit of hiding. You triggered growth they were not prepared for. And now they face a choice. Stay in the old identity or step into something bigger. They are afraid of rejection, afraid of vulnerability, afraid that it is too late. But beneath all of that fear is longing. A simple longing to be seen by you again, to sit across from you and drop the armor. To say, "I did not know how to love you the way you deserved." They are not perfect. They are not suddenly healed. But something is shifting. They are realizing that love is not about control, not about winning, not about being right. It is about integration, bringing together the strong and the soft, the confident and the uncertain, the light and the shadow. You represented integration to them, and losing you fractured them in a way they cannot ignore anymore. This is why the messages feel urgent, because they feel the distance growing. They feel you stabilizing without them. They feel the version of you that no longer chases. And they know if they do not move soon, pride will cost them something real. But listen carefully. Urgency does not mean you must act immediately. It means they are being pushed by their own awakening. Your role is not to rescue them from it. Your role is to remain aligned with your own growth. If they come forward, it must be from clarity, not fear, from wholeness, not loneliness. They must meet you where you are now, not where you were when they left, because you are not the same. You have become quieter, stronger, more rooted. You learned that your value does not shrink when someone walks away, and that is powerful. If they return, it will not be because you waited helplessly. It will be because they finally faced themselves. And if they do not, you will still move forward, because what you awakened in them exists in you too. Depth, awareness, emotional courage. This connection was not random. It was designed to expose what needed healing on both sides. You were not too much. You were precise. And they were not heartless. They were unprepared. These 3 messages are not promises. They are revelations. I was not as strong as you thought. I have been fighting myself since I left. I am afraid you will outgrow me. Now the question is not whether they feel. They do. The question is whether they will be brave enough to act. And the deeper question for you is this: if they come back changed, will you allow yourself to trust again? Because love at this level is not about fairy tales. It is about 2 people willing to face their shadows without running. The door is not fully closed, but it is no longer wide open. And that is where the real power is. Not in chasing, not in pleading, not in proving, but in standing still, whole. Let them feel the urgency. You stay grounded. If it is meant to be rebuilt, it will be rebuilt on truth this time, not illusion, not fear, not projection. Truth. And truth does not rush. It reveals.